Like and subscribe.
Can we leave that?
Yeah.
You're listening to Widowed AF with
Rosie Gilmoss.
and Lucinda Boast.
We've invited some members of the world's most exclusive club to bravely share their stories.
Join us for some honest conversations about living a different life, the crushing lows, the surprising highs, and everything in between.
Please note this is a podcast about death. Carefully read the episode descriptions and be kind to yourself.
But for now, welcome to our podcast.
Let's begin. Hello and welcome back to Widowed AF. You are listening to Rosie and I'm joined today by my husband, John. So hello, John. Thanks again for joining us.
Hi everyone.
So John has been standing in a little bit here and there for Lulu. Most of you will be aware that she's had a little bit of a health scare. She was in hospital last week, an infection in her gallbladder. She is making a recovery back at home now, but we're just giving her a little bit of time to fully recover. So lots of love, Lou. We haven't forgotten you. So today we will have a little bit of a chat through Laura's episode. We spoke to Laura Clark and her episode was out on Monday, and it was a remarkable episode and with a remarkable woman, and just immense strength of character once again that we're seeing in these people. So Laura's husband, Si, he died suddenly at home in front of her and her two children, which that alone is enormous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And from the sounds of it, I mean, I've seen pictures as well, big guy, little woman, and trying to get him, trying to perform CPI, and the desperation in her voice. It was really painful to hear, actually. And as we then heard, you have this monumental loss. And then she got the diagnosis that none of us want. She got told she had cancer.
It's unbelievable. It just goes to show that life just doesn't choose.
No. And actually, I remember saying to my mum after Ben died, it felt like there was a catalogue of things going wrong. And I was, very much, why is it happening to me? What have I done? I must have done something in a past life. And my mum, ever the pragmatist, sort of went, Rose, you can't control things. These are things that are happening around you. They are not, the universe doesn't hate you. This is not aimed at you. It is just a catalogue of unfortunate events, really. And I obviously never had to face anything as serious as a cancer diagnosis. But yeah, I don't know how you managed to keep your shit together during that one. But she did, didn't she? What a woman.
Yeah.
We hear this time and time again, though, don't we? That people they get these extraordinary circumstances that they are effectively forced to live through because nobody chooses these. And people often don't even like to be told that they are brave because you're not given a choice, are you?
No.
Well, that's how they perceive it. However, I kind of disagree a little bit in that you do have a choice, and the choice is how you deal with the cards you've been dealt. And that is what makes you brave, because to actively seek out the process of healing that she's done, to protect those children, to make sure that they were able to access counselling and support. And I think these choices that she's made, aren't they? Because your gut instinct in that circumstance surely is to retreat under the duvet with a bottle of gin.
Yeah. and that's the key word you've got right there. It's a choice. You choose which. It's one of two ways. It's definitely a binary choice. I know that for sure. You either go to the pits.
Explain what binary means for that.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone's probably heard all the arguments on the gender and the non-binary.
That's the topic for today.
Two choices, and it is you can choose to go and try and build some sort of happiness and life back, or not, and both have their own ramifications.
Yeah, and it does take grit and determination, and you do have to find yourself doing things you never thought you would. I draw you back to meditation. I did a 10-minute anti-anxiety meditation before we sat down to record this, because I can hear it in my own breathing. I don't know whether other people will pick it up, but I can feel that I'm in a slightly heightened state of anxiety today. There's no reason for it. I'm not under threat. I've got nothing particularly taxing to do today, but I woke up this morning and what can I say? The snakes in the belly are there. The anxiety's there, and sometimes you've got to try different things. And for me, meditation and yoga and that sort of stuff. Even my as I call them, my sort of spiritual dog walks, because you whack your headphones on, grab the dog, and that's where I find my church.
Yeah.
So it's finding coping mechanisms that aren't going into bed with a bottle of gin, aren't they? And my God, I mean, I had a few of those, I have to say.
Didn't we all? Didn't we all?
So, I mean, a lot of the feedback we've had for Laura has obviously been amazing and very, very supportive. And people have really, I think they've really warmed to her. She spoke with a gentle sort of tone. I think that, I don't know, I think everybody wanted to reach out and give her a hug. I certainly felt. And the responses have been, as you would expect, very supportive, celebrating her bravery. And one of my friends actually messaged me and said that she'd checked her boobs that morning, which she didn't do very often, which I thought, that's an unexpected side effect, I imagine, isn't it? That people are going, oh God, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I should probably have a little check. And I wanted to talk a little bit about health anxiety when you're widowed, because I do think this is something that comes up time and time again. And we touched a little bit last week about the cortisol and the adrenaline and fight or flight mode. And I think they're probably very linked. But the idea that you question so many aspects of your health when you're widowed, because I suppose you're very aware that we're not immortal. I think if you lose somebody young, up until that point, you almost still believe that it couldn't possibly happen to you or to people like you.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, no, I was a weird contradiction, actually, because I was incredibly worried about my health. And I remember ringing the doctor and saying, can I come and have this well woman screen? And they said, no, you're not 40 yet. And looking into possibly paying to do one. But at the time, it really wasn't an option for me. But on the counter side of that, I didn't eat well. I didn't exercise. I drank far too much alcohol. I didn't sleep. I did all the things that we now know, I didn't do all the things that we now know are the pillars of physical and mental health. So it's the awareness of needing to keep alive. For me, my main thing was being alive for my children, but also putting that into practice when you're grieving and you're broken and you're exhausted is sometimes very, very difficult. And I kind of want to figure out at what point the switch happens in our brains and we go, okay, enough now. Like, I have a responsibility to look after myself.
It's a good question, because I'm trying to think when mine really started to kick in.
COVID, after
and
COVID.
mine was post-COVID. Mine took another catastrophe to kick me into going. And I remember when I first started going through therapy after the ICU, my physio gave me exercises to do every day, and I still didn't do them. I mean, I was absolutely wiped out, but I should have gone and done them. And it wasn't until a few months in that everything started to kick in and move together. And so I still wasn't making the right choice even after that.
And actually, for anybody that doesn't know, because some people obviously haven't listened all the way through or may not know our story, but John, he's my husband, he's my live husband, and he's also a widower. And John had COVID very, very badly. He was an early adopter in March 2020, and he spent a month in a coma. So it was a very, very scary time. We do have a guest on Monday whose husband died of COVID around the same time. And that was a very, very difficult interview to record. And I think you listened to it back yesterday and you need a big old hug, didn't you? After
and a short break. It went a bit too close. My heart goes out to Emma. And as you'll hear on Monday, her bravery is second to none, and the choices she made and what she discusses in her interview.
Yeah, and I am going to get you back again next week, even if Lou's around, actually, because I think your perspective on this post-interview, when people have had an opportunity to listen to it, is going to be really, really invaluable. And I guess probably mine as well to a certain point, because I was in Emma's position. Fortunately, you didn't die. The idea of that is too catastrophic to even contemplate. But yeah, I suppose it does. Sometimes it takes something of that magnitude to make you really evaluate your health. As many, you're probably all aware, really, I drank a lot. And to compensate my drinking, I would take a cocktail of vitamins. People used to laugh that I must rattle as I walked, because I would take, vast array of vitamins. And, I went ketogenic because, I pretending that it was for my health and my mental clarity. But of course, it was probably to try and offset the enormous amount of calories in wine. So I sort of did little bits here and there to try and protect myself physically, but not really enough. And it was only, I guess, when I stopped drinking that I sort of thought, okay, well, you've taken this, this health concern out. So what are you going to do now? And just finding again, I'm going to use the word a path back to sort of physical and mental health has been, it's hard. And I don't want to sound like I'm some sort of health freak guru over here because, don't get me wrong, I'll eat a bowl of Cocoa Pops at breakfast given half a chance, but I try where I can to make better choices because I'm very aware that, at best, I probably have 40 years left on this planet and I want to be able to enjoy them. I don't want to be incapacitated and poorly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And now I'm on the other side. I reflect on the way I ran my life in between Sarah dying and me coming out of hospital for COVID, and I was on the wrong path. Everything was going the wrong way, and now I understand my body, I understand my health, I understand my mind, and I can feel when things are off kilt, and I can put the things into practice that I've put into practice that really do help me.
Yeah, and it has this knock-on effect on everything, doesn't it? Because we have 4 children, and that can be a melting pot of I'm just going to say annoyance. I'm trying to think of a fancy way of saying it, but I love my kids more than anything in this entire world. But my God, they can be annoying, and just finding a way so that you have a slightly longer fuse because I don't want to be snapping at them all the time. They're just kids, So I find that if I'm able to be a little bit more calm and, I guess the meditation, this 10-minute meditation that I'm trying to do every day, it's easier said than done, but it does give you, I suppose, a slightly longer fuse.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's sometimes all you need.
But again, sorry, I'm going off on one of my little tangents here, but the problem I also picked up on is how at risk we are of exploitation in many ways, but which we can touch on at other episodes. But I'm thinking here particularly health anxiety.
Yeah.
Because I personally have, done various tests. I talked about doing this hormone test. I paid a practitioner to facilitate these tests for me. They were essentially, it turns out, almost like the Amazon. they just ordered them and they came to me. But at the time, I believed I was going to get a comprehensive report which would explain the results to me. And I didn't really. And I thought, and I've gone back and questioned a few things. And she's kind of got a bit ratty with me. I'm just a nutritionist. But some of the information or the recommendations, and I'm using my inverted commas here, I think are potentially damaging. I think that she's offered me some loose advice, which it steers me very much to her supplements that she sells. So, but I'm in quite a good place now, and I'm able to maybe see this for what it is. But I don't know. I think when you are so desperate for answers and for help, you would end up perhaps it costing you money or time. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of charlatans out there. Even things like pyramid selling schemes, 3 times I was invited to join one of those when Ben died.
Yeah.
One was for a weight loss coffee, which this friend, and again, I'm very much using the inverted commas here, sent me some free samples to give me some energy. And I don't know what's in this coffee, but it felt a little bit speedy. And I just think that's a quite irresponsible thing to do. Utility Warehouse, they came after me at one point, and there was another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. So, and then you throw in clairvoyance and all these other little areas at which we're quite vulnerable. So I don't know if there's an answer to this or anything like that, but I'd be interested in hearing from anybody that has felt that they have perhaps been taken advantage of by somebody that they gave money in a view to trying to heal themselves or making themselves better. Because somehow having somebody not value that and not treat it with the respect it deserves is really hurtful.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So sorry, I feel like I've really gone off a little tangent there, but it happened up into my head.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing to cover because we are vulnerable, especially at that first 12 months. The advice is, don't make any big decisions. You can't always avoid that. But, these people waiting in the wings and, especially the adverts I don't like is go change your will so you leave it to a charity.
Yeah, but even then you see where they were coming at me was more, you must be poor because your husband's died or you must be struggling. Here, look, I've got an answer for you. This might help you. Come join my Speedy coffee pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a vulture, That's horrid, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can guarantee that pyramid selling scheme had a sign-in fee.
Almost certainly. Almost certainly. And obviously we've heard firsthand from some of our guests about how people have come after them for money. Yeah, sadly, it is an uncomfortable and very, very unwanted side effect of widowhood. I mean, even friends asking to borrow money, and I say this prior to even having any life insurance, and I had somebody who I thought was a very good friend who would repeatedly ask me for money. And it's very difficult to say no because I'm a people pleaser. I hold my hands up. I am a people pleaser. And I find it very difficult to say no anyway. And then when you're super, super vulnerable and you really are scared that nobody wants you because you're this horrid troll under the bridge,
Yeah.
you almost go above and beyond to do it. And I'm putting a lot more boundaries now, and I wouldn't be that susceptible. But we talk about feeling infantilized, and I guess you kind of do feel a bit infantilized because you feel not really in control of your own mind and decisions. You're reeling, aren't you? You are being buffeted around in a storm that you are very ill-equipped for.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, I'm really looking forward to bringing Monday's episode to you all because it, again, as I mentioned earlier, it is a subject that resonated and stung quite a lot. I think I do even cry at some point in it because it just all got a little bit too much. But that said, I'm incredibly honoured and humbled and proud to be able to bring you the story that Emma has told us because we need to hear it. We need to hear all these stories. And for her to have an opportunity to be able to tell it, I think it's very valuable to the process.
Yeah, definitely.
And probably for us, probably because we focus a lot on healing or processing the grief. I do think that, perhaps in the midst of this, the trauma of the COVID episode almost got a little bit swept under the carpet for both of us. So to have to go back and revisit it, I think was probably healthy in a way.
Yeah, I found editing the episode tough, but very cathartic. Once I finished, I had to go and sit in a dark room for half an hour just to decompress.
And rock.
Yeah, but actually, I've woken up today with, when you have those bad grief days and then you wake up the next day, it's like a blanket's been lifted off you just briefly. So I think it did me good to do that process. So thank you, Emma.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. All right, everybody. Well, thank you ever so much for listening. Oh, actually, I do just want to mention we hit 10,000 downloads this week. And I am, you can maybe hear it in my voice how much I am smiling because I feel, I don't know, completely blown away. The validation, I guess, that what we're doing is touching people and reaching people and that people are getting something from it. So from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Lou's heart, and I guess from yours as well, because you are very much part of the team here at Widow AF. Thank you, all of you, for everything you are doing to support us. It means the absolute world.
Yeah, definitely, because these stories are also as difficult to listen to as they are to put together. So thank you for sticking with us and helping us grow.
Yeah, we'll see you on Monday. We won't see you, you'll hear us.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. We'll be back with you soon for more from the front line of loss.
But for now, as you were,